We are back. Welcome back to Let's Chat. A little technical difficulties. We are trying things a little differently. So we got to get everything shared out. We had a great interview with our previous guest, Dr. Calvin Ellison. If you missed that interview, no worries. You can check back on our YouTube page, Let's Chat. You can also, starting next Friday, you'll be able to watch all of our replays from Let's Chat Live on Ebony TV, www.tmvtc.com. You'll be able, I know it's a mouthful, but that is our newest platform. All of Let's Chat Lives will be replayed on that platform as well. So we and T are excited because we'll be able to open up to a lot more listeners and viewers of our show and be able to mix and mingle with people. Y'all know that's what we love to do. We had a great interview though, so check out the replay if you want to hear that. It was very powerful, much needed conversation.
Mm-hmm. It was great, Lissha, and he brought his A game to the chat room, and he is someone that we definitely will have back to the chat room because he would be a great participant when we have those panels, Lissha. He has such great insight, and especially from that man perspective. So he would be a great panelist to have when y'all know Lissha and I, we be having these panels sometime for great discussion. So he would be a good one for that.
Absolutely, T. Absolutely. I agree with that. Can you hear me, T?
Yes.
Okay, great. Making sure we are having technical difficulties. We are waiting for Ruben to enter into the chat room. So, y'all, for the second half, we are asking that question again. We were talking that talk about it. Let's chat about this right here. Do you think August Alsina was out of pocket?
Lish, maybe we should reach Alsina and get him on the show so we can tell him how we feel. Who is people?
I don't know, but clearly they were not with him when he did that interview.
He needs some better representation, especially.
I agree.
With those shenanigans. You just don't do that. You don't do that and remain relevant.
I agree. I agree that it does taint your brand to a certain extent, and be able to evolve from certain situations. People are hurt. Hurt happens all the time. But when you allow that hurt to last so long, then you've gone beyond the hurt. You're no longer hurt. You know what I'm saying? I think that you're no longer hurt. You're just comfortable and attached to your pain in a way where you have to keep it going because that's what it is for you at that time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But something, Lissha, I'm glad you said that because some people would rather be in pain. They relate better to that. Like we were saying a little earlier, that they don't want to be in a better place. That gives them something to feel, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, something for them to feel or something for them to hold on to.
It gives them direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. Because sometimes we're so wrapped up in what happened, when it happened, how it happened. That was our whole mindset. Right. That was our whole mindset, our whole focus, everything. That's just what it was, that one thing. So now when you don't have that thing, what do you have? Where are you? You know what I'm saying?
That identity. You've lost that identity. Even though it could be something that's not really real, that's your identity of yourself.
Absolutely. And you become attached to that. And you don't know how to let it go and move forward because then you realize that you've ultimately lost yourself in the process. And losing yourself in any situation is the worst thing you can ever do. Because that's the hardest thing to get back is when you lose yourself.
A lot of people give up at that point. They don't even realize that the thing that they lost is self. So people don't know how to get out of that lostness, that void. So it's good to have people that around you that can see when you start slipping or that you're in a dark place and to help you shine that light on because Those are the people that you want in your life. You don't want those fair weather friends, those fair weather family. You need that in your life.
Absolutely. You always have to be careful about the people that you bring around you. I think of life as a brand, even in business. Business, everybody has a pivot, something that you have to do in that particular season to make it do what it do. In life, you have a pivot as well. You have financial pivots that happen and you have emotional pivots that happen, but you have to be able to pivot and make those changes because the ultimate loss is you. And to be
Mhm.
in any relationship and lose yourself, your identity,
Mhm.
it's very hard to recover from something like that.
It is. If you ever recover from it, because
Hmm.
depending on a certain person's circumstances, it's not going to happen overnight, and sometimes you have to seek that outside help in order to help you get out of that place that you're in. And a lot of us tend to not seek that outside help.
Mm, very important.
Hmm.
I believe very important because a lot of times, sometimes you can't get through it by yourself.
Hmm.
And this is the thing about other people. You always have to think about another person's intent behind the advice that they give you.
Right.
Their advice is either based, most of the time, it's based on their experience,
Hmm.
but it's also based on the intent that they have for you.
Mm. Okay. On what that their person actually, what they have, what are they gaining by your
Right,
circumstance?
right. Some
Mm.
people want you to stay stagnant because they need you to be stagnant. They don't
Make
need you
them
to move
better.
around and do better. They don't need you to do better because it does not benefit them in the process. So
Hmm.
anything that goes against that, oh no, you got to get rid of that because it does not benefit them. You have to always be careful about those people around you that are not conducive to your growth.
Hmm.
Because everybody, I think, they always say we got seasonal people. And we always try to make everybody around us last forever. Like
Right.
every time you date somebody, that's gonna be my husband. Every time you date somebody, he's not gonna be your husband, sweet cheeks. And if you're dating, you should be dating more than one person anyway. I'm just saying. So every time you come across somebody, that person is not meant to be with you forever. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? They're there to be there for a season. I think that, God blesses us, but He blesses us with people in our path as we go to help position us to where He needs us to be.
Hmm.
And sometimes they're there for the pivot, and that is their job and their purpose.
Okay.
But then we try to hold on to everybody for dear life.
And
And
you can't
then
do that. You can't do that because it gets kind of crowded up in there.
exactly. Because it's like you holding on to things that you should not be holding on because it's not conducive to your growth. It's so
Hmm.
funny, y'all. Dr. Ellison talked about that on his last interview. Y'all make sure y'all check out that replay. He did talk about how growth is important. It's very important.
It is.
And I just feel that for him to do that video, you can see his pain. You can see he hasn't moved over it or
Hmm.
past it,
Hmm.
even though it's been some time since it happened. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm. He shared some powerful points and some powerful insight on his life and why and who he is now from where he came, Leash. And I would love, that's something for us to consider, being on that call that he invited us to.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to do that, and just get a different perspective, because it sounds like that panel is pretty powerful with so many voices on it, and so many different perspectives from those voices. So it would be really interesting to see up close and personal exactly why people feel, and basically why men feel the way they are, because you want the community of men to be as strong as possible,
Mm-hmm.
especially during times like these when there's such an overgrowth of mistreatment and fatalities against our men.
Absolutely. And you notice how everybody is talking about we need an agenda. We need somebody that has an agenda. The president has to have a black agenda. Listen, back in the day we had our own agenda, but we also had strong men that had that agenda. They lobbied for that agenda. They pushed that agenda. We don't have that now.
Right.
Now we have women that have been positioned.
Mhm. Mhm. Mm.
And I think that has thrown us off balance a little bit. Because most of the time people look at women and they say, okay, black women were already strong. And so then now we're labeled. We're mean. We are difficult. But really, we have been put in a position to operate in our masculinity. Everybody has masculine and feminine energy. So because we're operating in that energy, trying to make sure we're holding it together as our men heal, you know what I'm saying? We become off balance because we don't know how to be soft.
But you know something, Lissha, it's interesting that you use the word we are considered strong because, you know, I don't know where I read it or why I felt it, but sometimes that label of you're a strong black woman is a mislabel because that connotes that we don't feel hurt, we don't experience hurt, we don't feel overwhelmed or experience overwhelmness, whereas we don't necessarily, and this is just my opinion, we don't necessarily, they feel that we can carry it all, you know, and sometimes
Exactly.
we don't. We need to be able to see our men, our kings. They should be the ones that
Mm-hmm.
we carry it together. So sometimes when you say, oh, you're so strong, I don't necessarily want to be
That's not a
considered
good thing.
strong because that
Right.
means that you can continue to heap it all onto me and I won't feel anything. You know, I'll just take it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
So,
then, and this is the thing. Now we're so strong, you're used to us planning. You're used to us making sure something happens. I saw something on TikTok, I think it was. And the guy was like, ladies, I'm coming to your city. And we have one day while I'm in your city to do whatever you want, date night, post or comment and tell me what we would do. So what I told him was, you coming to my city, you coming to spend time with me. You didn't research that and come with a plan. So I got a plan. The date. Where they do that at? This is the thing. Women are especially black women, like you were saying, T. They pile so much on us that we are the pullers in our community. We pull. We pull, we manifest, we harvest. We're the pullers. And everybody thinks that we're gonna put it together. We're gonna make it right because that's our job. You know, your mom would go into the kitchen. Y'all don't have much of nothing, but she make something out of nothing. It's the best dinner ever. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And they are used to our strength of doing that, but then they complain because we don't know how to operate on our femininity and to be soft because we are in such a position to where it's mandatory that we move in a specific way. And now everybody wants us to plan. You want us to plan this, take care of the house, plan the kids. Now you want us to plan the date too. What have you come to with the plan? You know, sometimes a woman just wants to know that you have the plan. Because if she's strong and you see her strength like that, while you asking her what needs to be done, she's already planning the next step. You see what I'm saying? So come to her with a plan to show her. Like, listen, I can plan too. I can pull too. I can harvest too. I can build too. You know, and I think that when we don't see that and we don't experience that, I think that's where some of the issues come in at, because that's really what we want. We want somebody that can be strong with us and for us. And I think right now, so many men are broken, and don't get me wrong, because they're learning their strength. They're learning their strength. They're learning that what their position means and has to be. But when I hear people saying, the president has to have a black agenda, absolutely not. Because back in the day, Martin Luther King, he had his own agenda, and he pushed that agenda. Why can't we have our own agenda?
Right.
And lobby that like everybody else lobbies? I'm just saying.
Everyone else has their own agenda, so why do we have to be
Why
Waiting
we
for the
need
president to give us an agenda when
right.
we know what we need.
Exactly. So they got to tell us what we need, or do we tell them what we need?
Because them necessarily telling us what we need is not what we need.
Exactly. And it's just like in a situation of the middleman. You know what I'm saying? If I was talking to my son about this, and he was supposed to get something done, and somebody had connected him with the person, and I told him, now that you have the connection, you are the one that tells people what you need. They don't tell you what they need, what you
Right.
need. You
Right.
tell them, this is what I need. And if they cannot do that, if they cannot operate and move in that, then that's not somebody that you can be connected to.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to take the lead.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of what's lacking. Not that, because I was a single mother, and our strength is a wonderful thing, but I think that it kind of not stagnated, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of men growing up are lacking a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have that balance. That man brings you balance.
Mm-hmm.
That's you guys have to balance out each other. And
Right.
so with men being imbalanced and women being imbalanced, there's our identity. We've lost ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Now we're waiting for somebody else to give us an identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, we need to give it to ourselves.
That's true. And because only we know us. But also I want to go back to what you said, Leash, as far as the woman being strong and having a man, I want to be able to relinquish and just relax in my femininity.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to embrace my femininity, my softness, because that's who I am at the core. Just like a man is strength at his core. You see what I'm saying? So we want to bring the two together and for them to be able to strengthen each other, if I may, and just be able to embrace what each other brings to the table. I don't want to always be the strong black woman because then they label us an angry black woman.
Right. We angry. We're controlling. We're overbearing.
So we don't want to do that. So we want to be able to be and embrace who we are individually so that we're stronger as a couple.
I agree. I definitely agree. And most of the time I'm combative because
no, Leash.
but that comes with growth. That comes with growth. And a lot of people, I think that we're mindful about how we speak to other people and less mindful about how we speak to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the things that we say about our men or the things that we say about our women, those create stigmatisms. You know what I'm saying? They create an identity that may not necessarily be what it is. So people will say things like, oh, you're too comfortable in your relationship. You're supposed to be comfortable. That's part of trust. And if you are uncomfortable in your relationship, you're in absolutely the wrong relationship.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because sometimes what people perceive it to be is not necessarily what it is. That's just their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just tell somebody what they're doing and why they're doing it because you're not in that realm. You're not in that relationship to be able to have any say in what's going on with those two individuals.
Absolutely. But then again, when people reach out to other people, they don't think about the intent behind their words. And we don't think about the intent behind our words. Sometimes they need y'all not to be. They need you to be stagnant or remain in that job or remain in that position or remain in that space that you're in because it's conducive to what they need and want from you.
Mm-hmm. And also it makes them look and feel better about themselves.
You got those people too. You got those people that every time you do something great, they got to do something greater. Every time you want to do something or you're planning on doing something, they got to talk you out of it. But then they turn around and they doing the same thing. It was a bad idea for you, but a great idea for them.
Exactly.
Don't do it for yourself because I want to do it. So let me tell them not to do that so that it benefits me in the process.
Exactly.
Absolutely, because sometimes people never, and not everybody, but some don't want you to do better than what they see you doing. It's not what they see you doing, it's what they see themselves doing.
Not doing.
Right.
Or see themselves not doing, because your success motivates them to want to be you, or to do what you're doing, and not necessarily celebrate your successness.
Absolutely. And the difference is people's presence provide different things for different people. You know what I'm saying?
Is real too. They bring different energy to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And you might have that person that motivates you to always move forward. Just their presence in itself is an affirmation. Mm-hmm. Their presence in itself makes you want to do better. Their presence in itself, and not necessarily anything that they're doing for you, but just their grind, their hustle. It becomes inspiring.
Right.
And it's a necessity to have those kind of people around you because they help you to grow.
But you know something, Lissha, and I want to just add to that. That's what we do here on the show. We support each other to the umpteenth power. And when I see you doing good, I feel good. And that's what true sisterhood is. You're happy for someone because they're, first of all, fulfilling their dream. They're moving forward. And if you can help, you help along the way. You enjoy seeing them enjoy their lives. So I love supporting people. I don't necessarily, me, I'll stay in the background in a heartbeat. But I will support you to because I know that's what your passion is.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. Those people in your life that are there through any season, they're really telling you, I'm here for whatever God has pushed in your vision. That's what I'm here for. I remember Sarah Jakes Roberts did a sermon, I think it was last year or the year before, and she talked about, have you ever had that friend, that one friend, when you told them what happened or what somebody said or what somebody did, the first thing they did was tell you, well, how you want me to handle this? You need me to go back? Because I'm here for you. We have to have friends like that, especially as women. We have to be able to embrace and inspire each other. To help each other to grow.
Always tear each other down, because when you tear each other down, that just leaves a stain on us, on our sisterhood, on our dreams. What are you getting out of putting a stain on me?
Absolutely. I definitely agree.
That takes too much effort. I'd rather put that same effort into helping my sister.
Absolutely. And that's really it when it says, and I can't wait for Ruben to come on, because he wrote a book called It Takes a Village. And it literally does take a village. It takes a village to be able to position yourself and move around and do some of the things that you want to do, or that God has placed in your spirit, or that if you're into the universe has placed in your spirit, whatever your spiritual guidance comes from. But you need people around you to help that grow. You got to have the right people around you to help that grow. You got to be careful, because everybody can't be attached to everything you're doing. One, because sometimes if they don't understand it, they can't help it grow. They talk about making sure that everybody in your wagon is pushing and not just sitting there and riding.
Or putting on the brakes.
Right. Or poking a hole in the bottom, sabotaging what you have going on.
Sabotaging forward movement.
Right. Either voluntarily or involuntarily. And that really comes from you, the people that you choose to bring around you, and making sure that you're mindful about some of the things that you are placing in your midst, in your path. And some things can't always be. If you find that you're supposed to be part of a team, a partnership in business, in relationships, whatever it is, But if you feel like you're the only partner or the only person doing all the pulling, doing all the work, that becomes that makes you feel away, because it's like, okay, I'm doing everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know how I feel about that. I was going to use that same T word, that team, because you're only as strong as your team. And if you have team members that are not doing anything and you're doing everything, then what's the need of a team? You know, we talked about this on a prior show. Why would the person be doing everything? Then what's the team doing? What's the team?
Listen, let me tell y'all. Toni fusses at me all the time. She's like, Lissha, you're doing too much. You do everything. Every time I turn around, you're doing something. You need to learn how to delegate some of these things you're doing to other people. Why do you have the people here if they're not going to do it? Okay.
Exactly. Then you get burnt out. Then I'm like, why are you doing this? Delegate.
And don't let me get sick. She'd be like, and you're not resting? Oh, you're working? Why?
I need you to unplug from everything.
Listen, y'all, that is what she literally told me the other day. She was like, Lissha, I don't know what happened. I forgot something. I slept. I fell asleep something. She was like, I need you to unplug. What you doing? What you got to do? What is it? Show me. Tell me what it is.
Like, what can I help you with? How can I help you?
She gets on me all the time. So when she says that, y'all, that's literally what she says all the time. She be like, you're doing too much. What are you doing? You doing something new? Okay. You got like 7 people on your team. Nobody can help you with that? Like literally.
And I have 3 of those projects on my desk.
And literally, I appreciate my divas. I do. I appreciate my intriguing pins, lady hustlers, because listen, I'm like, I need this, we got this. They like, got it done. So I appreciate you guys, and but it's a process though, because I was so comfortable in doing everything, and to me that was lack of trust. I could not trust other people with my vision. Right. I could not trust that this was going to be handled, and so I micromanage. You know, I micromanage. When now, shout out to Nathan Percy, because he said this on his interview. He said, now this is what I hired you for. Let me do what you do, because I wouldn't have hired you if you couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You got to put that trust in that team, those 2 T words, that trust in your team to get the job done.
Mm-hmm. And it's very hard to place your vision in the hands of other people.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very hard to do that. Very hard to be able to let go. It's kind of like sending your baby to someone's house that you really kind of don't trust them, but you send a baby over there anyway, but you kind of like,
Because you got a lot going on, so you need to be able to know that the baby is okay while you're doing what you have to do.
Absolutely. But that's my thing on that. If they're not watching their own kids, they're not watching yours either.
True.
So therefore, why are you sending them over there? Because now you're going to sit there and you're going to worry about them being over there.
Mm-hmm. And everybody that's over there.
Right. And what happened and what didn't happen and how this and how that, because the ultimate thing is being intentional and understanding. Mm-hmm. The ultimate thing is the lack of trust.
Right.
And especially in relationships, people always say, I have trust issues. You don't have trust issues because you're sitting down in the chair. You're not worried about if that chair is going to break. Go to a restaurant, you're not worried about if they wash the lettuce in the salad. Mm-hmm. So you don't have trust issues. You don't trust your judgment around certain people. Mm-hmm. You're not trusting something that you're doing.
Right. That's interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at it. It's not just the trust in general. It has to be something more specific.
Right. Like judgment. Right. Judgment. Lack of good judgment when it comes to certain things. Some people lack good judgment when they're in a relationship.
Lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw an interview where Cher was talking about falling in love, and she was like, "You should never fall in love." Not saying don't experience love, not
Mm-hmm.
saying don't love people, but you don't fall in love, because falling means that you have given all of you to someone else, and if they drop it, what do you have? If they don't do what they're supposed to do, what you're expecting them to do, what's going to happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, sure, okay, because if you think about it, if you give them all of you, that's
Mm-hmm.
like saying, I'm giving you all the water in my cup.
Mm-hmm.
And when all that water is gone, if nobody is adding water to the cup, what's going to happen?
You're gonna dry up and die.
Right. But, and then
There's no refill.
right. And
Somebody
then
got to be filling it up.
right. And then we place relationships, especially in relationships, we place responsibilities on people that they might not necessarily be able to handle. Like loyalty. It's like, dude, that's a lot of responsibility to place on somebody, and you don't know if they can handle that responsibility or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your heart. If you're giving somebody your heart, you're giving them all of you. You don't know how stressful that is for them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like sending your kids to some people's house, they be stressed out. Like, listen, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Why? Because I don't have time to explain to your mama and your daddy what happened. I need y'all to go in there and sit down. But it becomes stressful because you're giving somebody something that they know they have to be responsible for. And some people don't care. They choose to be responsible with it. They choose not to be. And some people are like, listen, I don't know how to love myself. And you just gave me all of this. What am I supposed to do with it?
Mm-hmm. Wow. And then that's where the problems start to come in, because they don't know how to handle what you've placed them with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about with Dr. Allison, and making sure that our intentions are for ourselves. We always talk about a goal moment here on Let's Chat. I don't know, you guys watching, if you guys have ever listened to our show. If you're new to our show, welcome. But we talk about a goal moment. And a goal moment is when thought and execution comes together.
Right.
And most of the time, before that moment, you have talked yourself out of 30% of the things that the universe or God or whoever your spiritual being is has placed in your spirit to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. I don't have time. It's not possible. People have more.
Not the right time. Maybe later.
Exactly. And it's like we end up stagnating ourselves because we've talked ourselves out of these things
and backed ourselves into a corner where action is going to get us out.
Absolutely. And sometimes when thought and execution come together, it's that moment, that's your goal moment, when you're like, I'm about to make this happen. And at that moment, you're like, I don't care what it is that's telling me I can't do it. I need to do this. I want to do this, and I'm going to do this. But before you made that choice, 9 times out of 10, you talked yourself out of it about 5 or 6 times.
That also goes back to what we were just talking about, Lissha, having that trust issue, because you have to have that confidence. You have to have that self-trust in yourself to know that you can do what you do because you know it. And that's another thing we say here on Let's Chat. Know what you know because you know it. If you know that you can make this move, or you can make that move, let's make it. Be confident in your movements. Be confident in your forward growth. You have to in order to move and not remain stagnant.
Absolutely. And everybody is not going to understand your vision. They're absolutely not. And it's okay, because it wasn't given to them in the first place.
Right.
But they're not going to understand it. And they will try and talk you out of it only because of their own fear. A lot of times we allow fear to stagnate us and block us from doing things. Fear will put you in a trick bag every time. It will put you in a bag, in a space, in a position that it's like, this is not where I was trying to go. But out of fear, this is what happens.
Nobody's happy.
Right. Well, and it's the thing. Nobody can make you happy. I don't care what they do. They can jump through a 5,000 hoops. They can set themselves on fire 65 million times. If you are not happy within yourself, it don't matter what they're doing.
Right.
It's not going to make you happy.
That's true. So be confident, remain relevant, do what's going to make you feel. And even if you have to go do something to improve yourself, do that. That's forward movement, improving yourself. Don't let fear hold you back. I'm all about not letting anything control my movements. I'm
That's
one.
right.
That's just me. I do what I do because I know I can do it. And if it's something that I want to do, I work. I work hard at everything that I put my hand to.
That's right.
I'm a very hardworking person, and I'm very loyal. So I'm confident in myself that I can do anything that I want to do. That's just me. That's the type of person I am. My confidence in myself gives me my strength.
Absolutely. And we're so different, but we're so much alike because I'm always like, T or no. Lissha, what you doing now? I'm like, whatever I think about doing, I can absolutely do. If I'm watching somebody else do it, I'm not thinking about, oh, wow, this is so awesome for them to do. I'm thinking about, I can actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
How you may be able to improve it.
Exactly.
You have to be always thinking and not just be existing.
Absolutely. You have to have that. You have to sometimes be your own cheerleader. Because if another person can't cheer for themselves, how they gonna cheer for you? If they can't love on themselves, how they gonna love on you? Right. If they don't have confidence, how they gonna be confident in you? They can't. Not genuinely.
You actually set the boundaries on how people treat and react to you. You set that bar. You however low or however high that bar is, you be the one to move it. You be the one to raise and lower it. You be your own person and let the people be who you need them to be. Don't let them determine who you are.
You tell them what it is and how it's going to be. You don't let them tell you, well, it's about to be like, no, that's not going to work for me. It's going to be like this, and that's what it is. Right. And I love it. Fantasia's husband, when she did that interview, I want to say last year or the year before on The Breakfast Club, and she got so much backlash for it. And then later on, I want to say it was either later that day or the next day, her husband and her did the video together. And what he said was, I need my wife cold as me. Because if something happens to me, I want her to know how to go where to get the bag at. Not nobody to tell her what it is, but for her to tell them, this is what I want, this is what I deserve, this is what I need to happen. Right. And he will empower her through that process. And you do, not just in relationships, just in life, you have to have that empowering aspect around you. But you got to empower yourself. You got to know that, okay, I don't have to accept just anything. I don't have to go through this just anything. It's not happening. People can look at your situation and they can be like, oh no, girl. Oh man, girl, you going through that. Well, you need to just come home, or you need to just do this. And, had you went home because things got bad, or had you made the change because things got bad, you would never have done the things that you were meant to do because you weren't going to be in position. Right. Because you fell back on someone else's fear.
And their fear is now controlling you and your movements.
Right. Remember, we always say this on the show. It's easy for somebody to sell you a dream. They will sell you the dream that they have for you.
That's right. And that's their dream and not yours necessarily.
Right. And then down the line, you realize, even like with our kids, we do it with our kids all the time. We sell our kids a dream that we have for them. But we sell it so well, 9 times out of 10, that's what they do.
They their dream.
Right, from our influence. And then 5 years later, they realize, that's not what I really want to do. It's not what I enjoy doing.
Right.
This was not my thing. This was your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, people do that all the time. They will sell you a dream. They will sell you what they feel that it should be because of whatever the fear is of stepping out. Sometimes you have to have faith. You have to step out, and sometimes stepping out means you're out there by yourself.
Hmm. But you know something, Leash? That's one thing that my husband and I did as the kids were growing up. You know, sometimes during that growing stage in schools, they trying out all different types of sports activities or whatever the case may be, but
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to find their niche. And
Mm-hmm.
whatever the three of them did, we supported them all the way because we wanted them to be confident in the road that they took. You know, one son loved the piano, one son loved the violin, one son loved sports. My daughter loved singing. Whatever it is that they were passionate about, that's what we were supporting that year. You know, so we let them choose the direction that they wanted to go. And to this day, they are like proficient in the different things that they did try,
Mm-hmm.
they did find, and they found their niche. You know, so you have to sometimes let them determine the road that they want to take, even if they do 50 different things during school. They're going to find something and they're going to know that, well, I tried this. I didn't really like that. Or I tried that and I enjoyed that. Let them be the
Mm-hmm.
ones to find their niche.
Absolutely, and that's so true because even as an adult, you you have to know what it is that you like and what you don't like.
Right. And that's why one son can play three instruments. He plays the different sports. So he found his niche. My daughter just loves singing. You know, that's her niche. My other son loves animals. He loves the piano. He loves the guitar. That's his niche. But
Mm-hmm.
they can do all of those things because they went through those stages,
Absolutely,
and we
and
supported them.
absolutely, and being able to know that it may be something that you don't do on a regular. It may be something different.
Hmm.
That's okay. You've never written a book, but it's in your spirit. You've been thinking about it for 5 years.
Hmm.
Write it. Because
Hmm.
this is my take on it. Everybody knows me. I'm always doing something because
Hmm.
I honestly believe there's nothing that I cannot do.
Hmm.
And I might not know in the beginning until I learn that thing. But
Hmm.
once I learn that thing, trust and believe I got it.
Right. And then she gives me homework, people. Y'all hear me? Homework.
Listen, I'm always giving T homework. She was like, "What's this leash?" And then I appreciate T. Let me tell y'all, no matter what it is that my scatterbrain self comes up with, she rolled right along with it. That's what you want to do? That's what we're gonna do.
Like today, I'm like, okay, Leash, show. I'm like, well, we booked. We working through the summer. We working through like
Listen,
we working through the first snowstorm.
Tony said, "Look, I'm working on. You got me working through the summer. Ain't no summer vacation. Ain't no nothing."
I'm like, I didn't know there were that many live Thursdays in a year.
Listen, but because our new platform, I have to make sure that we have content. And so we have literally our July is so packed up, and our audience
Y'all, we got content. We got content.
oh my
Content
god,
coming from Let's Chat.
Tony was like, listen, listen. So she was like, "Do we got a show tomorrow?" And I was like, "No, because I know it's the 4th of July, and you like to cook."
I was like, well, hallelujah.
Hold on.
I was like, oh, Lord, Lee.
You ready?
That was
Right
funny. But we want you guys to enjoy
now.
the
Hit the link.
Wild Thursdays. You know, Lissha and I are bringing the Wild Thursdays every Thursday. So we booked through the summer. So any Thursday in the summer, we're gonna be live.
Listen, Toni was like, Lissha, like literally, I called her the other day. I was like, T, so, I need some extra days outside of our regular days, like a Monday here and there. And she was like, what?
Like, let me just park it right here in front of the computer. Oh gosh. So we hope you guys are enjoying this. We so enjoy being us. This is who we are. This is who Lissha and I are. Y'all literally seeing up close and personal how we interact, how we dialogue, and what we're all about.
And how we vibe, y'all. Listen, Toni comes here like what, twice a year, and we like, I done lined up TV shows for us to watch. I'm like, listen, she like me to smoke wings. I like her to cook, and we just like, listen, we gonna make it do what it do. But we 6 years, like this is like my best friend, my girlfriend, my sister. 6 years. This is what we've been doing. We waiting for Ruben. He should be clicking the link and coming in shortly. He's gonna step away from what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's been a minute since Ruben has been in the chat room too.
I know.
It's gonna be fun catching up with him. But once again, if you guys want to be part of the show, you want to be a guest on the show, no worries. Just send us an email to the chatradioshow@gmail.com and we will make that happen. And let us know whether you want to do live, Facebook Live, or if you'd like to be on our weekly blog talk show.
Absolutely. And with our new platform, we will be offering also where you can advertise with Let's Chat. Because it'll be, your advertisement will be placed on that other platform where we have other listeners that listen to our shows. They watch our replays. Listen, our replays are popping. Have you looked? Like, our replays are popping, and not just on Blog Talk. I mean, iTunes, iHeartRadio.
Mm-hmm. And also YouTube. Make sure you head on over and one click subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get our subscription numbers up. You just hit that red subscription bell, and if you want to, you can hit that all, so you know that every time one of our shows is uploaded onto YouTube, you'll be notified. But please head on over to YouTube, search Let's Chat, and subscribe. We would so appreciate it. And pass the word. Let everybody know that we are the latest and the greatest and the hottest thing going on right now. The latest and Let's Chat.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. We need y'all to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything on all of our platforms is Let's Chat everywhere. So, listen.
That's that brand.
That's that brand. We're so excited. We have so many things in place, so many things that we're going to do.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a brief break.
Okay.
Play a little music as we wait for... He should be in here briefly.
Okay.
He's plugging in now.
Okay.
Hey, Angie Liddell. Dope author from the Bay Area.
Hey, Angie.
I'm from the Bay Area. That's how I met Ruben. We actually went to high school together.
Cool.
So he should be here shortly, though.
Okay. We can't play any of our music, Leash, because we have such a great selection of music. Right now, we got our guests.
Absolutely. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make us a show somewhere where I can add music that we can play. So we have the fabulous Ruben Scott.
Hey, Ruben.
How you doing?
Hey, Ruben.
Hello. How's everything? I'm sorry, I had an NAACP event, March protest going on right now, so I apologize for the inconvenience.
That's okay. Real quick, you gotta let us know what you've been cooking in your creative kitchen. We know what you've been cooking in your political kitchen. I'm so proud of you. I am
Yeah.
so proud of you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's been hard. You know, we came a long ways. I think I started writing the books.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we lost him.
No, I think he's froze.
Okay. Hopefully it'll start streaming again. He was getting ready to talk about his book.
Absolutely. So, for all of those just tuning in, Ruben is not only just an author, he is the president of the Sinoma chapter in NAACP in Sonoma, California.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can get him back.
There he
There we
is.
go.
All right. Uh-oh.
Maybe a bad connection. What's
Yeah,
going
well,
on
he's
on the West Coast over there, Ruben? You got to share with us.
He's at a rally. Yeah, he's at a rally.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Hello. Good to see you guys. All
You
look beautiful.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm the president now of the NAACP, Santa Rosa, Sonoma County. We have a rally. We're doing it for peace. But I started writing books, and we're still working on curriculums and books. I think it's important to teach youth how to read, or give them something that they can aspire for. Or, you know, what I started doing when I started creating my books was a lot of black men didn't like to read, or there was nothing that kind of pushed them to read. So I wanted to create some kind of dialogue that they would be interested in, that they could relate to, so that way they can go ahead and have something that would help them develop, and then bridge them into the regular curriculum of, you know, standard education. And so and then I started looking at what was needed in our community as far as resources, and I realized that we started going through a lot of emotional traumas. And so, and when it comes to relationships and other things, so I felt it was important to create dialogue and these curriculums that would focus on life issues that us as black men are really facing in our community. And so that's one thing I definitely decided to do.
Absolutely. Now, here on Let's Chat, we always talk about a goal moment. Your goal moment is when thought and execution come together. What was your goal moment like when you decided to run for president of the NAACP chapter in Sonoma? What was that process like for you?
The process was, I knew that people ahead of me or older than me were interested in change, but they weren't going about it the right way. And I felt like there was a culture shift and a generational shift in which my voice was now more important than it was when I was young. And so I felt like I could no longer sit by and just play on the side, or watch, or stand by and watch. That I needed to be more active in my approach and just in my own life. I realized that my son was 22 and I had a grandbaby, and it calls for me to push for change in a different way. And so I needed to make a cause and change. I needed to push a cause and have a change inside my local community, in which my son wouldn't be targeted or treated as if he was just a black man that had no rights or no beings or no reason to be in our society. And so I decided to join the NAACP so I can go ahead and be an instrument of change in my community. Now I work with the mayor, I work with the chief of police, I work with the city council, city manager, in order to implement change for our people of color and to see what's right, especially when it comes to the institutions like the junior colleges or the state schools, or even just in the nonprofits. So I felt like I couldn't sit on the side no more, and my age had caused me to step up and actually finally respond to what the need in the community was. So.
Absolutely. So when you sat down, and I want to go back because you've written books. The first book was It Takes a Village, and you decided to write these other books. How have you grown as a man throughout this journey that you've decided to take?
I think by creating the books and then walking through the journeys, being in the community, listening to people, I matured a lot. When I first started, my mom passed away, so I was dealing with brokenness. The journey has caused me to heal and then step up, know what I want, and define me more as a man, I want to say. I was able to get out some emotions and some insecurities early on, in which I was embraced. Yes, yes. In which I was embraced. And so, yeah, I mean, I apologize. Somebody was asking me a question about what was going on, so I had to look away for a second.
No
But
problem.
I think it allowed me to grow as a man, because I was able to do a lot of self-reflecting, and in it, I was honest with myself and my truth, and I was able to start working on self-love. So it allowed me to grow just because I was able to see, my pattern from start to now, and then I was able to actually judge myself. And so that's the reason, one of the main reasons.
That's awesome, Ruben, because sometimes, Lissha and I were just talking not too long ago about being able to self-evaluate, and until you know what your shortfalls are and where you need improvement, you just remain stagnant in your
Correct.
life, in your community, and your relationships.
Correct.
So in order to see growth, you have to know that you need to grow. So it's awesome to see that you, as a Black man, and as a man, point and just as a man, know that in order for you to see change in your community, the change had to begin with you.
Correct. Correct. Like I said, my mom died. I had to acknowledge that I was broken. She always told me when I was a kid, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom in order to come back up.
That's
So I
right.
kept bouncing and bobbing and bobbing and bobbing, and I said I got to hit rock bottom. What that meant was I got to admit to myself and people around me that I wasn't okay, and that I had some things wrong with me, and that was hard. And within that, I was able to go ahead and develop, work on those things, and improve. And so, you have to be honest with yourself, and when it comes down to self-loving and just the whole, taking inventory of yourself and then being honest with your situation. A lot of times as Black men, we want to just act like we're okay. We want to mask it because we're taught to be strong.
Right.
You can't always be strong in life. When you
That's
break,
right.
it allows you opportunity to grow, develop, and become stronger than you ever were. So I think that was the best thing, the vulnerability of being broken and being honest about it.
And also to know that it's okay to not be okay.
Correct.
You have to know that that's okay for you not to be okay.
Correct. Well, you
Absolutely.
got to allow yourself not to be okay.
Right.
You got to put the parameters and say, I'm not okay and I'm okay with that. Until you
Mhm.
start feeling healthy again, then you can say, okay, I'm healthy and I feel good. But watch out, because when you start saying that, that's when it comes back at you again. So, I'm always working on myself. I will never stop. It will always be an ongoing project. And, you know, evolution. The world evolves. Things evolve in life. Things change.
Right.
You have to adapt and change with it. And sometimes it comes with hurt, confusion, stress. And so, like I said, we gotta self evaluate and develop and grow, and then that way we can go ahead and kind of change with the times, and
Mhm.
and what comes with that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. We so appreciate you. We know you are at a rally, so we're
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
cut it short so you
All
can
right.
finish doing what you're doing. We
I
appreciate you
appreciate it.
so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shout
You
out
gotta
all
come
your.
back, Ruben. You gotta come back when you have some time with us.
I will. I sure will. And I thank you guys for everything. We'll
Yeah.
talk soon.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye. You take care. All right.
He
I
did
love it. I
great
love
things.
it. I love it. So we're going to take a brief break. We will be back with the fabulous actor, Melvin. I love Mel. Listen, Melvin Jackson Jr. So we will see you guys. We'll take a brief break. We'll be back with Let's Chat.
Okay.